You cannot bring a weapon to school. You can't say I was
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense, because if you are afraid the day before, well, you have to take a weapon to school, why not notify your parents? Parents, you notify the school teacher. School teacher, let's bring these kids in here and resolve this issue. It's called conflict resolution. We was taught in homes that has morals and values, you tell the teacher. Somebody with you, you tell the teacher, let the teachers know, so when y'all have an altercation, you're cleared and you're covered. Documentation beats conversation. So words of documentation just say this is self-defense. It's a premeditated crime because you took a weapon in fear, anticipating to use it.
That was premeditated, though.
And it's at a track meet. You getting ready to run track with other kids and you got a knife on you. No, man, you got to go to jail.
Let's see all of the things white people lied about during the Karmelo Anthony situation. So he never had a knife. It was a cleat sharpener. There's a lot of
Yes, this is a follow-up to this situation. I see a lot of people saying, oh, they are lying about Carmelo. I have seen videos upon videos. When you take a look at this, Carmelo has been moved to an undisclosed location following his release from jail, according to his family. Anthony is accused of murdering Austin by stabbing him in the heart. According to a new press release from Minister Dominic, the family has received disturbing things in the mail, including this arbitrarily. We are sharing images and documentations of the threat the family has faced this past weekend to make the public aware of the dangerous atmosphere that has been created, an atmosphere fueled by organized hate, systematic racism, and international misinfo. An intentional misinfo, the Next Generation Actions Network said. Okay, when you look at these and what people are saying,
when is it all right to kill the bully? I don't give a what the bully did. He don't have a right to die. Teach the kids how to deal with bullies and this won't happen. We're all not equal. Yeah. You cannot get rid of bullies. Teach the kids how to deal with them. Bullies build character. You go to work, it's going to be a bully supervisor, a bully co-worker. You cannot get rid of the bully. Teach our children conflict resolution. Everything don't have to end in violence. But when you come from the black culture, everything is disputed in violence.
You make a lot of sense and you can't dispute it. He brought a knife. Though a lot of people are now twisting like he never came with a knife. That is the stories I'm saying. People putting out in defense of this guy.
In order for Karmelo to prevail on a self-defense defense, he has to establish that he reasonably feared for his life. You know, that's a steep hill to climb given the facts that I've heard so far, but that's the standard here in Texas. It is going to be incredibly difficult for Karmelo's defense team to establish that Austin, the 17-year-old who wanted Karmelo out of his tent, represented a deadly threat or even serious bodily harm. Again, we don't know what was said. We don't know what was threatened. What Karmelo said was that he was going to put his hands on me. That's not he was going to kill me. You know, that's not, I thought he was seriously going to hurt me. All he described was the potential for an offensive touching, which is not going to be enough without more. And the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it an aggressive act for him to go up and say, get away from the tent? Did he do more than that? My understanding was maybe he touched him and put hands on him. Granted, that makes the decedent in this case maybe the initial aggressor. But you really still then have to look at whether or not Karmelo Anthony responded with appropriate force, he used a deadly weapon, and whether or not he was in imminent fear of great bodily injury. That's the standard in Texas and most every state to determine whether or not his actions, the way he perceived him, the way Karmelo Anthony perceived him when he took out that knife and stabbed him. If in fact he had a reason to believe great bodily injury was imminent, was it reasonable? Was he pushed? Was he shoved? Was he hit? Because don't forget, it's of the moment, but you are allowed to respond to great deadly force with your own great deadly force, or at least your perception of great deadly force. So it's really going to be fact-based.
The racial elements were reversed there. Virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society, and jury selection, which, of course, your other guest is so brilliant at and did so well in the Zimmerman case, is determine the outcome of this case, without a doubt.
Section 9.31, self-defense, use of force. A person is justified using force when they reasonably believe that the force is immediately necessary to protect themselves against others' use or attempted use of unlawful force. And of course, unlawful force is actually explained. The use of force is not justified if the actor provoked the other's use or attempted use of force. That, I'd say, is very damning for Karmelo, considering he reached in his bag for a knife and then said, "Put your hands on me and see what happens." So he essentially provoked it on. And then we've got another interesting little line here. Or if the actor was engaged in criminal activity at the time that the force was used. You could argue that bringing a concealed deadly weapon to a school event is illegal. Then we've got section 9.32, deadly force in defense of a person. A person is justified in using deadly force only if they'd be justified under section 9.31 in using force, and if they reasonably believe that deadly force is immediately necessary to protect against unlawful deadly force or prevent certain crimes.
He ain't even that dark, but they don't like melanin. Melanin is the biggest enemy that they have ever seen. This is why they go after certain people.
Folks, I really hate to break this news, but I think that Kamala Harris has officially been dethroned as the most smooth-brained individual in American politics. There, I've said it. Jasmine Crockett is undefeated when it comes to absolutely brainless.
Yeah, so, I think sometimes some things just need to be said. I've had a couple debates about the whole Austin Metcalf, and, basically what I'm getting from this is that there are a lot of people still in 2025 who think that you are just supposed to walk around seeing the whole world through the lens of race. And that's just not the person that I am, right? This particular situation, I look at this situation through the lens of a father, right? Because I have a son that plays sports, and I cannot imagine taking my son to a soccer game or a basketball game and the end result is him being dead, for what? A argument, a confrontation, a shove, a push. I don't think that there's a scenario where you could convince me as a father, right? If my kid didn't have a knife, a stick, a slingshot, a screwdriver, nothing, right? There's nothing that you can tell me to convince me that someone else is justified in stabbing. You can't justify it. I don't know what color the person is, nothing. Because this is just what I would describe as just everyday teenage boy shit. Like, I used to be 17 years old, right? And we got into little scuffles and mishaps and stuff like that because that's just teenage boy shit. And at no point in time did anybody ever die behind it, at least around me. You understand what I'm saying? And in the situations where it did, nobody was, jumping to defend the killer. I don't understand it, man. And it's sad that this has become, like a race thing because...
Yes, like I said, I'm not someone who is focused in talking about race issues because I believe that we are just one people. Some people get offended when I say these reasons. You see all my videos on these platforms, you will not see me talking about race every single time because that is not my thing. But this whole situation now circulates around race. That is what I see. It should not be happening that way. This is wrong. We should learn to condemn wrong things when we see it, no matter your skin color. That is what I'm supposed to see. Yes, I like the fact that you understand what exactly is happening. It has become a race thing, and I never believed that the whole situation could turn out that way. Yeah, because every person is now playing the victim card. People still standing up to defend this guy. They are insane. They are crazy. This is a big situation. Something like this has happened for people to stand up and condemn it, but every single day, what they do is still to continue to, you know, support it. It should not be happening this way. I feel sad, to see that this whole situation is now like erase something. If it happened and we see, black people coming out to condemn it, like this is wrong, you will not see this packing up on social media. One lady told me that this is actually a race war now coming in because people will continue now to exchange words.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what might happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
These are the type of lies that are threatening this family. Posting the family's picture. These are the type of lies. She's getting millions of views on this. Sarah, she's even came after me. She's even said all of those things.
Followers for anything, and then
This was with sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly.
we start talking about this man, Killmonger,
and began grabbing his stuff.